on YouTube, Facebook, and IG, short for Instagram. I'm with Adria and Renikia this week again. Mm-hmm. So, with no further ado, we'll let Adria do her thing and we'll get going.
All right, guys, welcome. As Ty stated, it is another Flippinar on this wonderful Thursday. I think this may be 57. Yes, show number 57. We are live across Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. As if you didn't know what IG meant, Ty explained that to you. Go ahead and tag a friend, bring someone over, let them join us tonight. As usual, you ask your questions, rather you post your questions, and I ask the questions, and these two wonderful hosts that we have here will answer them, answer all your questions in regards to wholesaling houses, and plus some. So we don't typically stop there. I do like to remind you guys to go ahead and make sure you tell me your location, give me your name. Sometimes your answers are better suited for you. I'm not live on Facebook, so you may not see me, but I know you can hear me. So as long as you can hear the sound of my voice, you're in good hands. As Tyrone said, we do have Miss Renikia Williams with us today. She's been a frequent visitor, and she's been helping you guys build your credit, finance, buying homes, that gap funding that she's created. That's a wonderful program, and I will allow her to explain that a little closer to the middle of the show. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing going. Ty, you want to explain your shirts today?
Oh, yeah. We'll start with that.
New shirts today, guys. Says flipbyphone.com. Flipbyphone.com. They're pretty fresh. I think about. Thanks to me.
I like that.
Yes. Okay. So what is Flip by Phone, Ty?
Well, over the last probably 10 months, I've been trying to figure out this cold calling thing. And I went from basically a caveman version of it to something that could be systematic. So, of course, I'd love to share this with you all, not for free, but it is an opportunity for those to get in the game for basically less than $250. And what I mean by that, that's a list of 1,000 absentee owners that you can purchase from this list of data and outfits like that. And basically that same list, normally people would do direct mail through postcards, yellow letters, or mail to flip or whatever, but you can still do that. And I would encourage you to do that because you need multiple methods of marketing to keep your pipeline going as far as generating leads. But this gives you an opportunity to be able to use that same list. A lot of you already have the list, and you can instantly get phone numbers for anywhere from 30 to maybe 70% of the list, depending on what service you use, which I go through all of that in this actual course. Now, if you're a student, it's already been uploaded to the existing course. All you have to do is just log in and access module number 10, and you'll see new update is the way it's titled or whatever. So what I've been able to do with it, just recently, one deal for $6,500, another one for $9,500, which I'm going to do a video specifically for it, and you'll see emails probably coming your way if you're on the list, Instagram, all this stuff. So you know I'm going to pound you over the head. You can get it if you want, but specifically, I'm mentioning it because between now and I think midnight Saturday, it's going to be at 50% of the normal cost of it if you're interested in it. So flipbyphone.com, the name explains it, flipbyphone.com. It's, in my opinion, just from my experience, and I've been holding off on this, is actually a faster and actually cheaper way of getting into business as far as generating leads compared to Bandit signs and or direct mail. Now, I'm encourage you to do all three, but if you only had to choose between the one, if this fits you as far as someone that can pick up the phone and call people, then it's definitely down your alley. Personally, it's not down my alley, but I'm smart enough to get people or partner with people or pay someone to do what I don't want to do, because I know it works. So it can be used in one or two ways. You can do it yourself, or you can partner with someone that loves to be on the phone and not afraid to contact people and get hung up on how do you get my phone number and all this stuff. But then there's, hey, yeah, I got a house I want to sell. You know what I'm saying? So flipbyphone.com, you'll be hearing more about it throughout this Flippinar and a couple other ways. So boom.
All right, guys, there you have it. Flip by phone. And if you didn't hear what he just said initially in the very beginning, he's going to offer it at 50% off for a very limited time. So you better take advantage of that, guys. Take advantage. I see posts already on Facebook and on YouTube there where people are saying Bandit signs aren't working for me. What else can I do? What other method is there? Boom, here you go. We're giving you something else. So take advantage of it. And no, Jinwoo, we're not flipping iPhones, not iPhones. We're not bringing back flip phones. Flipbyphones.com, guys. So make sure you check that out. Guys, we're over 10,000 members on the Facebook page. Wow. I'm going to mention that again, that you need to join Wholesaling with the Flip Man on Facebook. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful platform to get with other wholesalers, possibly in your areas. Please take a moment to read the rules. It's very simple. Just do not use it as your personal marketing campaign to the 10,000 members. Do not ask for buyers list. You know, at some point you got to hustle on your own. You have to put some legwork into this. Now, if you're needing help with the deal, wanting to link up with someone in your area, that's fine. But this is not for you to create a buyer's list, and this isn't the place, you know, for your personal, as I said, your marketing. So just read the little rules. It's just a few rules to get engaged on that Facebook page, or, you know, you'll get bumped out. Going straight into the questions on Facebook, Paul Renetta Brown, Bandit signs don't work well in my area. I've noticed. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. Well, kind of just answered that. But you got this flip by phone opportunity. You have, you still got mail to flip.
But we want to answer that though too.
Yes, yes.
On when you say they don't work in your area, I always have to ask several questions. Number one, where are you placing the signs? How are you placing the signs? What do your signs say? How many have you put out? How many are still up? Or are you trying to place them in areas where other signs don't already exist? Renika, as she says a lot, not really my thing, because if I put them up, I ain't taking them down. I let somebody else do that. But even with that, even if you did that, if you were consistent on the weekend of putting them up on Friday evenings, and whenever they come down, every weekend at some point, they're going to start to pay off for you, because people will actually get used to seeing your signs every weekend. So don't give up on them because whatever you've done so far hasn't worked. But in order to really troubleshoot it, you would have to answer those series of questions that I just posed. But, you know, you can still do this too. So, cool.
And I just want to add to that. The key to Bandit sizes, to me, is consistency. You know, you can't put out 5 today and 5 more a month later. You got to consistently put these signs out, figure out which areas are working. It is a trial and error. You know, you may put out 100 signs. You may focus on one area one month and nothing hits. And then you go to a whole nother area and then you start getting those hits. So you want to troubleshoot that as well.
Okay, so there you have it. And I don't know if he kind of went kind of fast through there, but I saw this question just in the Facebook group earlier today, and I answered it. Someone said, when's the best time to put them out? Well, any day. But if you're not sure whether they're going to stay up, Friday evenings through Sunday, because the city most likely isn't working on the weekend, they're not going to come take them down. Now, if you're going to leave them up Friday evening, if they stay up through the rest of the next week, great. But if you're going to pull them back up, pull them out Friday afternoon, Friday evening, go back and pick them up Sunday night. And that way you can recycle those same signs. So any day is a good day to put out signs. But if you're in an area where they get pulled up quickly, try to deal with the weekend. So hopefully that answers several people's questions in regards to Bandit signs. But they do work, guys. They work. Can't deny the truth there. They work. Politicians don't put them up for no reason
Exactly.
during the political season.
Stop signs are not up. I mean, all these signs are up. You have the signs for food places. They're up. They're there for a reason. So you know to stop. So.
All right, let's see here. Sticking with Facebook, Crystal Davis says, I have a question this evening. How can you find out who owns a home? I have went online to tax assessor's website and I found out after calling the name that is listed that the person hasn't owned the house in over a year. I had a couple of people who told me the same thing and they were genuine. I need to know if I'm driving for dollars, how can I find out who owns the actual house so I can send the yellow letters?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, when the property records are inaccurate, you know, that's an issue. But I mean, you can only start from the last person that is there, and then you just kind of maybe pick their brain and see. And Tommy have a different answer, but pick their brain and see who they sold it to. If it was only a year ago, that means most likely that home was sold to, you know, the homeowner that you call sold it to someone, and see if they would be willing to give you that information and see if you can contact them. But if the property records are inaccurate, it could be a lost cause. What do you think, Ty?
Well, sometimes you'll see that. Every now and again, the address may be hard to identify based on what the county has it registered. That happens occasionally. Now, you would have to probably take a risk. Well, first thing I would do is I would go down to the courthouse and try to, what I would do is identify the address on both sides of it and go down to the courthouse and let one of the individuals down there help you figure out who's owner, right? Because once they start locking in on those parcel numbers and the way that the geo map is laid out in that area, okay, they're going to the tax bill is going somewhere. Now, it might not be going to the right person, but that tax bill is going somewhere. So that's what I would do first. You can, if they can help you, you may want to, which this would be an investment risk in a sense for a few $100s. Then that's when you may employ a title company to try to assist you with pulling title on that property. They'll figure it out, you know, as far as that actual parcel or lot or whatever, who owns it, and they'll be able to tell you what's going on with it, you know. So, but you may have to risk $300 to maybe, you know, depending on your market, $300 to $600 or so doing so.
Right, and then just to add to that, there's always a paper trail. You know, there's always a paper trail with these homes, but I would definitely say property records are maybe about 3 to 6 months behind, you know, because it takes about 3 to 6 months for your deed to before for the deed pretty much to go through when you purchase a property. That's why it takes you about 3 to 6 months before you can get the original deed. So it could be one of those scenarios where they may just be behind in the system. And like Todd said, going down to the county to see what they have in their system, then that could help you to get closer to your target.
We waiting on you, Adrian. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can you hear her?
Mm-mm.
All right, there we go. Yeah, tried to switch up my mic because they said I was a little faint. They couldn't hear me, so I switched it up. It didn't work.
It's not that loud now, though.
Huh?
It's not loud enough now.
It's loud as it was.
I hear it good.
You can hear it good. Okay, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Facebook, they said they couldn't hear me, and Success says he can't hear Renikia, but Renikia and I aren't using a high tech, you know, mic in front of us like that. But you know, we'll get better. But Slick 137 says, I have a property whose ARV is 137 and has it under contract for 63K. Is this the deal? Well, Slick, you're missing some information there. Does it need any repairs? There's just, where is it? Where are you? So need just a little bit more there. So don't you, wouldn't you agree, Ty? Yes.
Yes.
Well, on the surface, 137 and 63. On the surface, he's good, but and he has quite a bit of room there because 70% of 137 is 96, basically 96,000. So we got quite a bit of room there. Hopefully, the repairs are not that extensive. Just on the surface, it appears to be something, but we don't know what the repairs are, the repair costs.
Okay. On Instagram, Cole Dave says, oh, well, that's just a shout out. He's from New Jersey. Anybody in New Jersey, give him a shout out. There we go. I see you there, Cole Dave. Okay. Going back to YouTube, let's see here. Steve Dormeus wants to know, is it better to build some experience before going into commercial flips? If you're going to start, where would you start?
Definitely not commercial. Commercial is more expensive. I mean, you want to start in the place where it's a lot less money out of your pocket, especially when you're new. So the less money out of your pocket, the less you can lose. I would say flipping commercial, I'm assuming you're trying to wholesale it. I'm assuming you're not trying to purchase a vacant apartment complex, renovate it, and stabilize it. I'm assuming you want to wholesale a commercial property. Is that correct?
Oh, well, I would hope so. Yes.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, when he says experience, unless you're going to partner up with an experienced commercial investor / broker, I'm not sure where you could get the experience outside of making mistakes yourself or succeeding or mistakes. So I'm not sure what he means when he says experience, because you're going to have to go into one of those lanes in order to gain some experience, either yourself, broker, investor, or a combination of the three.
Right. You got to know how to evaluate a commercial property.
Yeah.
And especially if you're trying to wholesale it, you got to know if you even have a good deal. So under your first learning curve is evaluating a commercial property to see how much it really worth and do you have any equity in it so you can flip it out to an end buyer. And depending on how much you understand will determine if that end buyer is going to look at you as a novice. You want to be able to sell it as if it's your investment as well. There's two ways to wholesale a commercial property, in my opinion. I mean, Tommy has a different way. You can wholesale it like you are doing a residential property, like an assignment. So then but for commercial, they don't call it an assignment, they call it points. So if I give you this property, I'm going to tackle on 3 points, three buyer points. That means the buyer must pay me 3 points. 3 points would be 3% of the 3% of the acquisition cost or price, or the purchasing price. So that's kind of how I structure my commercial deals. Or I could wholesale it or double close it. And double close it means I'm going to put it on a contract like I'm going to purchase it. And then I'm going to flip it out just like you're doing a residential property. And you're going to flip it out. But a lot of times someone has to put up the earnest money. And the earnest money is not 1,000, it's not 500, it's like 50, 100. It's a lot more expensive. You're either going to get your third party put that earnest money, or you're going to have that earnest money that you got to put up.
Okay, there you have it. In regards to the slicks, is it a deal? The repairs were about 10,000. The home is located in Dallas. So
Absolutely.
he has it under contract for 63, about 10,000 in repairs, which puts it at 73. The 70% put it at about 96. So yeah, you got some room there.
That's a super deal. If you're gonna wholesale it, you can probably add another 10,000 on there to wholesale it.
Oh yeah.
I can make about 15, 20 on that if you want to wholesale.
Looks good, Slick. Put it under contract and find you a buyer. Get that money, honey. Let's see here. We've been on for a little while now, and I think I guess the people who are coming are here, and maybe the ones who are coming have already been here enough. But I see some questions in regards to the Fund My Next deal. Someone asked, do you have to have 700 across all 3 scores? I think I'll let Reniki explain, but from what I've been hearing, she says 680, so 700 will be awesome. And then Shy wants to know, he says, I got my email back and the instructions to sign up. And he wanted to know, is the upfront cost still waived if he goes through Fund My Next Deal? So with that being said, I'm going to allow Ms. Renikia to explain exactly what gap funding is, this program that she's created to help you fill the gap in your funding on your next deal. So go ahead, Ms. Renikia.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Those are some good questions too. But just to kind of explain gap funding as a whole, gap funding to me is pretty much funding the gap. As you know, a hard money lender, and this is I mean, you can do this on wholesaling as well. I mean, if you're able to get $50,000, $60,000, you put $10,000 of it aside to invest into your wholesale business. But funding the gap actually means to fund the gap. So as we know that a hard money lender will give you the money to buy, purchase, and the money to rehab, but they always want you to put some skin in the game, usually 10 to 20%. A lot of times there's a group of us that never get started in real estate because we don't have that lump sum of money. That could be 20, 30, 40, $50,000 for you to flip a deal. So what we did was create a program to help you finance even the down payment, which allowing you to flip your first deal using 100% of other people's money. If you understand just wealth and building generational wealth and just investing as a whole, OPM is the key to wealth. You have to use other people's money. I mean, not have to, but you leveraging other people's money will allow you to be able to gain more profit and do more deals. So with what was the two questions? I don't know if I hit those questions.
The credit score across all bureaus, what was the minimum? And going to Fund My Next Deal, was there, I guess he mentioned an upfront fee or something. Yes.
Okay, great questions. So you have to have a 680 across all boards. One thing that I do, I take it a step farther because I am a financial advisor. Regardless if you have a 680 or not, I want to take a look at your credit and I give you a blueprint plan on what you need to do to put yourself in qualifying position. As you know, credit is nothing but a number system. As something subtracts, something is added. I mean, it's a number system. So you can almost look at your credit and determine exactly what needs to come off to boost your credit up. And that's exactly what we do. To answer your question about a upfront fee, there's no upfront fee. All fees are waived up front. I want to get you funded. So there's no fees up front, and we'll allow you to pay our fees out of the funding that you receive.
All right, so there you have it, guys. If this sounds like something that you're interested in, make sure you get in touch with Miss Renikia. Her or one of her receptionists or office workers will most definitely get back with you within 24 to 48 hours. But there's a question here on YouTube, and he says, what do you mean by the property having equity in it? Sorry, I'm such a novice.
It's a good question. So equity, and I'm probably going to say this just simple. Equity is pretty much anything, the value in your property over the loan or mortgage. So if you don't have a mortgage on your property, that means the value of your property is 100% of equity. Anything over that loan, so say for instance you have a $100,000 loan on the property, but the property is really worth $200,000. That means you have $100,000 of equity in your home.
All right. Hopefully that explained to you the 7320980, which is on YouTube. Question on Facebook is from, well, actually, this isn't a question. It's just a comment from Sonia. She says, Ty is the best. I almost got my first real deal, but I was too slow with the contract, and the seller signed via DocuSign with another investor before I changed the PDF format and all that. But it was easier than I thought. It was my first 2 calls. I just used Zillow. Way to go. I think Ty's contract, I know I saw it on Facebook in the Wholesaling with the Flipman group, is editable. Yeah, That sounds right. Editable. It is in PDF format, but you can change the information or add the information as need be. So make sure you go to flipman.net to get that free contract that you can use. I see a question here. You can use it for the buyer and the seller, guys. And it works. It's been working for Ty the last 15 years. It doesn't take this 5-page, in detail contract. It just does not. This one-page contract will get you done. I know some of you guys always ask about adding a memorandum to it, about backing out, about somebody backdooring. Well, that just comes with the territory. That's just going to happen. So you really can't, it's going to happen, but the contract is available to you. So good job, Sonia. And I hope your next deal, you don't have that problem. The next question on Facebook, Big B Hunt. I am a brand new wholesaler wondering if I may have passed the deal by overestimating the repair costs at $15,000 as Flipman suggests. Oh. I only have Zillow to get comps from, but the ARV is 71. The owner owes 45. And that's how much he wants for the property. He has a realtor, and from his description, the property is move-in ready. My question is, if I inspect the property with the contract and the repairs are significantly lower than 15K, would this be a deal? My question is, I guess at what point was 15,000 the minimum for repairs? Have you even looked at it? If you haven't looked at it, 15K, you can't even, you're assuming that that's what the repairs was, but I'll let the gurus here answer that. What do you think about this?
I mean, you can almost, it's really simple math. If you think the repairs is 15, they want 45. That puts you at what, 60,000?
Right.
And you said it's worth what, 70,000?
Right.
That's your answer.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. No investor would buy that. If it's at 15, even if it's at 10, it still won't be a good deal. What is 70% of 70,000 or 75,000?
49, isn't it?
49,000.
Yeah.
So the highest all-in cost.
Wait a minute.
Repairs. How much is it?
What you say? What you say it was? 70%. What's 70%?
Of 70? Is it 70 or 75?
Yeah, it's 49.
49.
Yeah, 49.
49,000. So that's, if everyone please understand that simple equation, it will save you a lot of time on evaluating, do you have a deal? Because 49,000 is your highest number that you should be all in. I mean, acquisition, purchase price, and rehab. Your whole number, both of those numbers need to equal or be less than that 49,000 number.
Okay, I guess in still taking his comment, I guess the way I read it is he was concerned that maybe he overestimated the repairs at 15, but in reading his comment, he hasn't even seen the property. So you can't, I'm not sure.
I mean, it still doesn't make sense. I mean, your repairs have to be 5,000. That's all in. So that means that you have to wholesale it at 49, no more than 49,000 too, but it makes sense to an investor.
Right. So just not a lot of wiggle room, even if it was move-in ready. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it would have to be move-in ready. No repairs, nothing. Perfect roof, carpet, paint, nothing. And he mentioned that he saw it on, I guess, a video, but I mean, you still need to, that's part of that due diligence part, guys, of looking at it, going and looking at the home and not taking the owner's word, because I'm going to tell you, it's fine.
You're right. Exactly. The whole roof caving in, all types of stuff going on.
That's just perfect. A little leak.
Yeah, it just needs some TLC.
Yeah, spray some of that popcorn ceiling stuff up there. That's cover that leak up, whatever.
You close on and everything collapse.
But yeah,
you gotta go look at your own property.
But yeah, it sounds like it may not be as good of a deal for you, Big B. But most definitely keep going. Let's see here. Rel Kush says, Flipman, I got my Bandit signs today. Way to go. What you gonna do with them? Put them up, Rel.
How many you have?
Yeah. How many did you get? And when you gonna put them out? They're not doing you any good in the box. Let's see here. Let's go for a question on YouTube. Brian says, I've been studying virtual wholesaling, computer and smartphone and automated voice recordings that qualifies buyers or sellers. That's serious. That's the way to go. You know, that's not for everybody because that could cost money. Those services aren't free. We do try to advocate for those starting out with little to no money, no cash. But yeah, if you're one of those wholesalers that has money to fund your marketing campaign from the jump, that sounds like a good deal, Brian. I'm sorry, and that's Brenna, not Brian. I apologize. Let's see here. Still sticking with Kimbella on YouTube. In NYC, how do I pull the comps on a house that is zoned R6B with a mix of building types? I couldn't find any comps. So
it's not like a commercial building. It's like a mixed use building. Is it like residential retail at the bottom or residential at the top?
She doesn't specify. I'm sorry, I don't even know what a R6B is, but she says it's zoned to R6B. So not sure.
What it specify that zoning?
Okay. So Kimbella, you can probably add a little bit more info there so we can get you an answer. Let's see here. Again, Ty, people are wanting to know when we're going to get more videos other than the lives. Guys, he's working on it. He does wholesale just like you do every day. So just keep it. Then you posted, was that a new video the other day? The phone call of a motivated seller?
No,
No?
you must have talked about on Facebook. That may be something that Torian posted on Facebook, but I hadn't uploaded anything to YouTube in a minute outside the live stuff.
Okay, well, that's what the people want. And Kyle from Georgia says he's going to pay for the coaching, Flip Man. He's seen enough videos. It's time to invest. That's right. Invest in yourself. That's what you're supposed to do.
The greatest investment is in yourself.
Hey, so I can bring out, with him saying that, I'll bring out the gator.
All right. Oh!
Invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. This is $1 billion. Wow.
This is Dad.
I grew up. I thought it was a little bit bigger. I'm like, that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, time to
Wow.
get gator.
You really gator out here.
You got a little gator, you might get the little gator. Depending on what you do, you get the big
When
gator.
you buy, you're going to get the big gator.
Yeah.
That's right. What you gonna be today? Big gator, little gator? You big gator,
Oh, I
little
like it.
gator. Okay, guys. Let's see. I will go back to Facebook. Jason says, what does Jason say? What up, kinfolk? That's Birmingham talk. That's everywhere talk.
What did he say?
What up,
What
kinfolk?
up, kinfolk? He said kinfolk.
What's his name?
He didn't
That's
say kinfolk.
Jason Wilkerson.
Oh,
He
no,
says, thanks to Ty for getting me Christina's number for those signs. If you don't know, that's at Dirt Cheap Signs, guys. Ordered 100 earlier this week. Now my question, what's the minimum ROI most investors want to get from a deal?
Well, I don't think it's like a industry standard, but I would, that's going to vary on the individual. Some people, 20% is lovely or whatever, but for some, that ain't enough. They want 50. Some may want 50, if it's all said and done. So it's just going to depend on the investor. But generally speaking, that formula that we always talk about, 70%, but you got the 30 left, that's normally where that profit lies along with holding costs. So, and that formula, understand that formula ain't set in stone, because normally you're going to try to even get it less than that in most cases.
Absolutely.
It just more or less prevents you from wasting time than anything or whatever, because you're normally going to still even get it less than the amount that the numbers you come up with. But it helps beginners to understand what a deal is, because it seems to be, just from my experience, probably one of the most difficult things for people to understand is what is an actual deal. What makes a great deal. And then some of it's going to be so market specific or whatever, and then what part of your market. So a lot of that's just, I can coach you to them blue in the face, or you watch my videos and whoever else's videos and training. Some of it you won't know until you get out there in your market or whatever market you're targeting and seeing what buyers will pay in certain areas of your market. So as far as an ROI, that's going to be all over the board, man. But generally speaking, that formula helps you get you in the right direction. And until you just start pulling the trigger on some stuff, you really won't know what buyers are really willing to pay in your market. Because perception is a lot of it, in different areas.
And I would like to add to that. He's totally right. But when you get to a realm of buy and hold, I think the ROI is a little bit more important.
Yeah.
When you get to that buy and hold realm, because your investment provides a return, you want to make sure you only buying and holding something that at least above a 15-20% return. If not, then you can put your money in a 401k or something like that and still get that 8-10%. We're not doing this for average returns. We're doing this for the higher return. So when you're wholesaling, returns is not that serious. When you flipping, you're trying to max out everything. You want 150% return. But when you buy and holding, you definitely want a return that's higher than 15-20%.
Okay, there you are. Our web on YouTube says Ty is probably tired of doing videos. Been going strong since 2008. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Who's this?
That's our web on YouTube. Yes, guys. Huh?
What did he say?
That you were probably tired of doing videos. You've been going strong since 2008. 2008.
Well, it's not really tired. Some of it, the way I do it now versus the way I used to do it, it's a little taxing because I actually put a little bit more energy into how it's produced or whatever. You can just see, go back to August of 2008, look at those videos and look at now. I ain't saying we on ABC or anything as far as our production here, but see the improvement from back then to now. So it actually just takes, well, I'll put it like this. If I do a video, it can be a 20-minute video. It may take me 5 or 6 hours to get it, online. So, it's taxing. So, and then the other thing is, and we mentioned, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot more to say. You know what I'm saying?
Information hasn't changed. It's the same information. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll redo some videos because some technology may come along and maybe help or whatever. But and I may redo some videos because, like I said, and I have done some of that, is because I can produce better quality. I got a little bit more experience, so I may look at things a little differently than I did before on a particular topic or whatever. But the main thing is just, it ain't much more I can say. You're talking about, it'll be 10 years in August of me spilling my guts. You know what I'm saying? So,
Wow.
Well, I know they said last week I can still do some walkthroughs and do some calls where motivated seller, well, just seller calls or whatever, just so they can hear. So I didn't think people like those because I look at the views and they tell me if someone that they're interested in or not. I don't, they don't rank as high as some of the other stuff does. So.
Right.
All right.
I mean, I think we're overcomplicating the call. It's very simple, and it's going to be the same. It's going to be somewhat of the same questions every person you talk to. Oh, yeah. So I know there's a script out there. I'm sure you got it out there, which is those top questions that you need to ask, and it's the same thing every time.
Yeah.
Do not overcomplicate it.
And the ones that you can listen to, as experienced as I am, and as all the people I've talked to over the years, you can see that it's not like, I don't think I'm sounding that professional or anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to do more listening than talking in reality or whatever. And even though the script that I put out there, that's all the questions that you need. Maybe you can add a few more things. But if you listen to those calls that I did, I really only just wanted their name, phone number, the address, number, bedrooms, and baths, why they're selling, and the price. You know what I'm saying? Everything else I'll figure out because, if that price ain't right, really, there's no reason for us to continue talking.
Right, exactly. All right, they're not selling. I mean, it's,
yeah, I want to get that price, man. I'll make offers, but I prefer them to give me their price, their bottom line price, or whatever. Then we can work from there. So, but sometimes you can't always accomplish that.
All right, Lanice on Facebook. She's actually from I'm sorry, on YouTube. She's from Baltimore, and depending on when you logged on, you might have missed Ty talking about flip by phone. She wants to know what it is, but we will circle back around before we end to make sure you know what flipbyphone.com is all about. Miles Powell, who is on YouTube, wants to know why we have the gators. You must be new, Miles.
Oh, you know.
Welcome. You gotta be new. It comes from Getting Gator. Has nothing to do with Miami or whoever else teams it is. No, although we do have them as orange and green. Anyway, it's about Getting Gator. How willing are you to get out there and hustle for these deals? What are you willing to do? When Ty suggests that when you make your offer to this motivated seller, how low are you willing to go? If you're not embarrassed by the offer that you give, you're not getting Gator, okay? If you're not willing to knock on a door or two, you're not Gator. If you're not willing, if you can't afford Bandit signs, to go get some corrugated board and tack them up and not worry about the city coming and taking your signs down, you're not Gator. You ain't Gator.
We eating everything in sight. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I love it now.
It's all about getting Gator. Getting Gator, cash and check. That's
you ain't Gator if you put a property under the contract and the seller had a for sale sign in and he doesn't live there, and you circle back 30 minutes later and pull up that for sale sign.
Yes. Getting Gator. I'm not promoting
advertise.
I'm not promoting putting your Bandit sign on top of somebody else's Bandit sign, but just because a Bandit sign is already on the pole does not mean that your sign can't go on the pole too.
As well.
It's Gator, okay? So get Gator with these deals, y'all. Crystal Davis is hurting my feelings on Facebook, Ty. I'm just gonna tell you right now, but she's my girl, but she's on me. She can't hear me. My audio, my video, my visual, all my sound is wrong. I need to upgrade. She says I'm just horrible. But I'm gonna read her question anyway. I'm gonna read her question anyway, because normally I'll be like, I ain't gonna read your question in because you ain't.
She done read you and everything.
Right. Don't be a hater, Gator Mouse, okay? I'm sorry, Crystal. Crystal's question on Facebook is, how do you recommend keeping organized? Do you recommend a spreadsheet to keep addresses, names of owners, and pertinent information to keep everything together and follow up? She's struggling to keep organized besides plain old paper and pen.
That's a good question. I mean, I think every business owner falls into this organizing thing. I think it's just, you got to figure out how you want to organize yourself. You got to build your own systems. Success is not a secret, it's a system. So when you build those systems, you're not even thinking, you know where your information goes. It goes on this spreadsheet. I got a spreadsheet for buyers. I got a spreadsheet for sellers. I got a spreadsheet for cash buyers and multifamily. I got a spreadsheet for commercial. Create the system. And work the system.
Okay. A lot of people ask about CRMs and all of the software and that. And if you're computer savvy and you're riding around and you're going to be diligent in transferring that information, then that's for you. I'm not going to be diligent in coming home and putting that in an Excel spreadsheet. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'm not.
That's how the organization falls below. Because you're right. The majority of us not. We don't want to do all that extra stuff.
So I have a spiral bound notebook, the little composition notebooks, and I just write it down. I put a date and write it down. As I drive, I write down the address. Now I've gotten pretty good about the little memo tab on my phone. I'll just say the address and I'll come back and revisit it later. We've suggested like land dropping pins and addresses as you go and come back and visiting that later. But as far as how you choose to do your spreadsheet, it's going to be up to you. You do want to keep up with who you called and when you're going to call them back, because this whole business about follow-up. It is
Absolutely.
crucial to follow
One of
up.
my great mentors say the money is in the follow-up. You
Yeah.
usually don't close it the first time, but you call that person back again and again, that money's in the follow-up. You would lose a lot of deals because you just didn't follow up.
So Crystal not giving you an answer other than just giving you ideas on what you can do, but you're gonna have to just figure out what works for you. Ty.
What
Okay.
I do? What I do?
Right. Ty is riding around with 2 phones. And I'm dead serious, guys. He stacks a phone on top of a phone when he answers the phone call. So the second phone is recording the first phone call, and that's his system. He's consistent with it. It looks crazy as I don't know what, but that's what he does. So he goes back to the second phone, and boom, it's all there. Everything that he said is there. Wow. He's not writing anything down, and or anything. He just goes back to the call. That may work for you. So just figure out what works for you. Trial and error. I wish you luck on that. Sticking with Facebook, Paris R. Atkins says it is so important to do the formula. If it's not a deal, try your best to move on. That's the main way to go. But I hear a lot of other people in the business that stress to see if you can come to terms, if you can do terms. What's your suggestion? You know what? He mentions that. And if you look at the Facebook wholesale group, I promise you, there's at least 10 to 15 posts a day saying, I talked to a seller today. No, I talked to a motivated seller today. They want $50,000 for their property. I need it at 40. What should I do? Move on. Go to the next deal. You're done. I mean, maybe a little bit more effort into that, but don't worry about it. Move on to the next. That's not a motivated seller. So to answer Paris' question, what's your suggestion, Renikia? How do you come to terms?
Absolutely. I think you made a great point. Real estate to me is a numbers game. There's a million houses out there. If I'm looking at 10, someone's going to pay me. But I'm looking at 1, it may fall, it may not. The more homes you look at, you hedging the possibility of any of your deals falling. So if I have a goal of 5, 6 deals a month, then I may lose 2 or 3, but I'm still going to win on something. So that's one. But I'm sorry, let's change my call. It's been a long day.
They asked something about didn't they ask something about owner financing in there or something?
What was the question? I had a great point.
It was just about what he said was, I hear a lot of other people in the business that stress to see if you can do terms. Instead of, I guess.
That was my question. Okay. So a lot of times I will ask you, have you went out to the property? Because for some reason, sellers are emotionally attached to their property. So, they have this number in their head. Oh, I know I can get this. And they haven't did any due diligence. They don't know what their property is worth. So you almost got to go in and create the illusion that your property is nothing. And it needs a whole lot of repairs. And I can give you $40,000. I close you in a week. I close you in a week and a half if I can get it at this 40. But your property this is wrong. The roof is wrong. The plumbing. You got to create. Sometimes you have to create the illusion because a lot of sellers are too emotionally attached to their home and they haven't done any due diligence. So that's another way.
Okay. Hopefully that helped you out there. LL, let's see here. You had a question and I got to get to my booth. Let's see here. Adria, if I purchase Ty's personal coaching, is coaching for life or a limit of time only? And I'll tie that into another question where someone asked if they were a previous student, is the link still the same?
On both of on the link still the same, just depends on when you purchased it. But if you purchased, just reach out to, you got my number, so just reach out to them. I can get you access to it. As far as how long, well, the unlimited for me, and some of you all probably will snicker because you've heard me say it if you reached out to me, but the definition for me, and hopefully this is for maybe another 40, 50 years, but as long as I'm breathing. So.
Wow. You can't beat that guy. As long as he's breathing, as long as he has this knowledge on the dome and it gets better every year, guys. So you have access to it. So you cannot beat it. So hopefully that answers your question there. Let's see here. Marketing Maverick had a question in regards to apartment complexes. He wants to know how to go about wholesaling a for sale 8-unit apartment building. Some of the tenants are still living there. How do you find the ARV if there are only mostly duplexes nearby?
Can I go on this one?
Yes.
All right. You can't look at it. They say 8 units. You can't look at it in terms of a house as far as an ARV.
Right.
Well, there's a couple of ways people evaluate apartments. They'll do per door. Well, what would it sell per door, per unit? You know,
Right.
you can look up, well, depending on the area. You can normally, again, it depends on the area, base that on what other properties of same class have sold. You know, you may have to go back on apartments 2 or 3 years, depending on the area, to see what they sold. For example, like it may be $23,000 per door, or maybe $100,000 per door, or whatever. So that would be an $800,000 property, and probably in New York City that wouldn't be anything, or whatever, on an 8-unit building, maybe $3 million. You know what I'm saying? So just depending on what part of New York, so city. Now, the other way, which I think most people evaluate the properties, is income, right? Either existing income or potential income, pro forma, meaning what it can do based on the rents for that area. Now, ideally, in most cases, especially when you're talking from a wholesale position, you want to do your deal based on what that property is doing right now, not what it can do, what it is doing, because that's on the owner if it ain't doing what it can do or whatever. Now, a lot of owners will want to try to sell it because they know it's an 8-unit building. They only got 2 rented, but they know if somebody rented it, 7 or 8 of them, it's more valuable. But again, you can't base it on that, especially in a wholesale position. You need to base it on income. So how that's broken down is that you take the gross income, the grace rent, which most of that's going to be rents, obviously. Sometimes you can have a laundromat and some other fees that they could probably stick in there to and be included in the gross income. But obviously most of it's from the actual rent that's collected, subtracting the expenses. So that'll give you an NOI, which is a net operating income. So now once you have the net operating income, you can divide that by, if I'm thinking this right out, you can divide that by the price that they're acting. That'll give you a capitalization rate. So you can look at the capitalization rate as basically what would my return be on this property per year annually. So that may be 7%, 8, 10, 12, 15, whatever it is. So it's just obviously going to depend on the market. If you're in Southern California, you may have a 5% cap rate, and it's considered a decent deal. Whereas in most parts of the country, and then let me break that, then it's even broken down even more, depending on what part of the city. So you're just using LA, depending on what part of the city or whatever. That 5% may be good, and then in another part of the city may not be good or whatever. It may even be lower than that. But in other markets, and it's an A, B, C, D, or property. It just goes just on the evaluating, because you have an A property, you have a D property, you have B, C. So you know what an A is. That'll be Beverly Hills. A D may be Compton. I don't know anything about LA. I'm just going by what I see on TV. So I'm assuming Compton is the D neighborhood. Beverly Hills is an A neighborhood. So then you got B and C. You can figure out what a B and C. So then the cap rates matter. A D cap rate, and let me get out of California. Let me go somewhere just normal. Houston, Texas, somewhere like that. So that ain't normal. Most of the country don't operate on those.
It's not. Cali is not normal.
That ain't normal. We'll just say Atlanta. That ain't normal. So a D hood in Atlanta, it may be a 10% cap rate. Whereas an A hood, it may be a 6%, 5 or 6% cap rate. You see what I'm saying? Or we'll just say a 6. So it just layers of it to come up with a value on it, but it's just not like comparing house to house when you're coming up with what the property will be valued at or what it could be. So I know I rambled, but it's just not the same. It's just not as far as comparing evaluating a house versus commercial, which 5 units or more considered commercial with multifamily. So
All
what
right.
you got, Renee? You want to add anything?
I mean, you said both of the ways. That's kind of how I look at commercial. You're either going to evaluate from the cap rate, you're going to do per unit. Per unit to me is like that quick behind the envelope, process is me just understanding that I know. I mean, just looking at if there are any apartment complex that has been renovated in your area and sold on the market. And sold on the market, you can almost divide the number of units, divide it into how much it's sold for, and they give you the per unit price. From that being said, now I can determine how much the ARV per unit on my units are.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's a quick behind the envelope type of evaluation. Cap rate, a lot of people get, they get confused when you're trying to write, do all these numbers and subtract expenses, so I just kind of look at what other apartments have sold for in the area, and I divide that purchase price by the number of units, and it gives me the ARV per unit for my units. And you can determine the as is per unit by dividing the number of units into the asking price of those units, and it'll tell you how much they're selling it per unit. I like to just break mine down per unit.
All right, Maverick. Hopefully that answers your question. He was actually in Florida, but it still works the same.
Very same, yeah.
Okay. Amal X on YouTube has a question. When wholesalers say we buy homes cash, do the sellers of the home actually get cash or do they get a check? Some people may think actual cash. Potato. It's guaranteed funds. Okay. They're not gonna care once nobody's walking around with 15 grand in cash. Just not gonna do it. And so if
you're gonna get cash. It's when you're doing real estate closings, most likely people are wiring money into the closing attorney's escrow account. So they're gonna wire that $90,000 into the escrow account. Now you can ask the attorney to cut you a check, or you can give them the wire instructions. They'll wire right into your bank account. But no, they would not give you a briefcase of cash.
Yeah, but trust me, get the deal, get the seller, get the buyer, get a contract, get to the closing attorneys. That's going to be the least of your worries. No one's gonna. A motivated seller is not gonna chop your bones for them getting a check and being able to go right around the corner to the bank and cashing it. So don't worry about that. Little worries, little. With that being said, someone also wanted to know, do you prefer we buy or I buy? Which is more effective? Is there a difference?
Somewhat. I would prefer we, because you want to look like you're a big team. If I say I buy, he may look at me like, I don't know if she got it. But if I say we, he don't know who's behind me. He don't know what type of money behind me. So I like to take it from a we standpoint.
Yeah. That we works, especially when you're making those phone calls and you say, myself or either one of my partners will get back in touch with you within 24 to 48 hours. You always want to make it seem like you got a gang of folks. Just this is what we do. This is our hustle. We buy houses all day. We'll let you know if it's something like, shoot, we got money. Like, you don't need your deal. Versus and it's like, boo, you don't look like.
Right.
You pull up in outside and you buy. No. I mean, it's okay to seem like you're working for someone, and it's okay to seem like you're the boss. It's okay. Either way, you get your check. But I would prefer we buy houses, and that's why you see it. We buy houses, cash, fast, closing.
I can definitely say this guy just tagged and reported one of my Instagram posts because I hashtag we buy houses. He made Instagram take it down because they have it copyrighted. So there's this team of people that came up with the whole we buy. No, they came up with we buy ugly houses.
We buy ugly houses. Yeah. They had those ugly billboards back in the early 2000s that were the yellow and black billboards. We buy ugly houses.
They still do them.
Yeah, but you know, it's okay. Dropped ugly. We buy houses. Okay, whatever.
We buy houses, exactly. Drop that.
Okay.
That's
exactly.
Trademark. I mean, well, trademark or copyright, whichever one it is.
Mm-hmm.
Darius King is a realtor, and he wants to know: can he wholesale houses as long as he discloses?
What are you disclosing?
That he's a realtor.
That he's a realtor.
Oh, realtor. Oh. Yes, you must disclose it. You must disclose it to really all parties, and you have to disclose it to your broker that you are wholesaling, and you have to go through your broker and everything if you're going to do it yourself. Now, I can't
partner,
when it comes
your wife, your spouse, your brother, your sister that you're just helping wholesale houses.
Yeah, I saw.
I think what we would most
your
say.
Name cannot be on that LLC. Right. Your name cannot be on that LLC.
Yeah, so just know the rules and regulations. And with that being said, guys, a lot of people haven't asked it, so I'm hoping that y'all have grasped the idea. You do not need a realtor's license to wholesale houses. You do not have to be a realtor to wholesale houses. Once you grasp that, then it doesn't hurt. You can be, but you're bound by different laws at that point. You have the questions. Is the one-page contract good enough? Not if you're a realtor. Can I do this? Is this legal? Not if you're a realtor. You're bound by different laws in your state when you have those, letters, whatever they are, behind your name. So you don't have to be. It does help you going to the meetings. It does help you having a realtor in your gang, on your squad. It doesn't hurt. You don't have to be one. And in fact, it could probably cause more problems than good if you don't know the system and know what you can and cannot do. So good question in there, Darius. Sammy on Facebook wants to know, once you have a deal under contract, do you take that purchase agreement straight to the title company and wait till you find a cash buyer and take that contract to purchase agreement to the title company and it's a mouthful, and wait for them to tell you the closing info?
I would necessarily wait until I have that end buyer secured, because you really want to have that end buyer secured during your due diligence anyway. So within 2 or 3 days, you are, I don't know what your due diligence is, but you only have so long to find a buyer. And if you have reached your due diligence, you either go back to the homeowner and say, hey, I think I need a little bit more time in due diligence. It will span that time, so you go and secure you an end buyer. I would rather only send my contract to the attorney when I have secured my end buyer. Now, but if you think you have a great deal and it's going to sell, if you want to start, I wouldn't recommend it. But for people who understand this game, there's plenty of times I have closed a deal that had already started on the title. Title was ready to go. And that's always a plus too. So it really depends on your risk factor. But just starting off, don't worry about sending it to the attorney until you have secured your end buyer.
Okay. Vic Smith, you got a question and I'm going to read it. And then I'm going to ask you what you doing? He wants to know, is $25K a reasonable offer for a burnout with an ARV of 100K? First question. It's a burnout. Granted, is it a brick home? So does it have the foundation? Or we talk about a burnout that's a slab, it's just gone. And where did you get 25 from? Did the seller give you 25, or are you just throwing 25 out because you're thinking, oh, it's 100, they at least need 25? Because if you're questioning, is 25 reasonable? It's not low enough. You have to feel in your gut sick. I just feel embarrassed. I'd offer them 10.
You had almost insult them.
And so where does the 25 come from? Because if it's 25 and it has to completely rebuilt, is 75 grand gonna rebuild a house? Is it gonna rebuild?
It's all relative to it's all relative to the repairs. Because if it takes you 100,000 to rebuild it, is it really worth it?
Well,
so it's all relative to the repairs.
The seller is asking 25, but he offered 10. Good job. You still don't answer. Is it complete?
How much is the repairs, or do you need to tear it down and rebuild it?
Yeah,
and that will determine if that 25 makes sense.
Okay, so Vic, come back with that answer. Yeah, I want to make sure that no, it's not an insult. GLTO 10678. It's no, it's just we want these. Our subscribers are here to learn, and they're asking questions, and we want to make sure that they're, as we put, getting gator, maybe not too gator, but just making sure they're not underselling themselves. I mean, the worst that can happen is you can be told no. But he says
a mentor told me, if you don't insult them, you haven't offered a lower enough price. And we don't mean insult like make someone mad.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I almost want to steal your property. You know, you want 50, but I really want to get it for 20. So I'm gonna offer you 20. And to you, it may be an insult. How dare you offer me 20 for a home that I know is worth 50? That type of insult.
Yeah. So not insult like insult them, GLT. I mean, like if you just feel bad.
If somebody hangs up on you because of a price, they just made it easy for you and them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not willing to negotiate. You know, they because people are haggling, which I don't know what do you want to get for. So I may make a dumb comment. I wish I could get it for $1. Would you
exactly?
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, well, you won't give me a price. You playing this Mickey Mouse game. You know what you want for your property. Give it to me. What's your
exactly? Because you sure know what you don't want. You don't want that $1. So what do you want?
Yeah. How close can you come to that amount?
Yes, Royston. Yes, lowballing. Yes,
that's
not
how it is.
By badgering, but just lowballing is what I meant. I'm sorry. That's just what we meant by that.
That's a better word. Lowball your offers.
They give me the number, but if they want to play that game, I'm good at it. Let's get it.
Right. You get sellers who don't want to say their numbers first.
Oh yeah.
And that's when you kind of lowball them. Okay, I'll give you 10. You know, I mean, you'll begin to get to that right number when you give them that lower number.
Oh yeah.
Now we getting somewhere. Oh, okay. So we know you don't want 10. So what about 12.5? I mean, we can play this touchdown. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Iron Game, while we're talking about this, Vic has the burnout home. That's the foundation. So we're talking about that. But Iron Game wants to know, how do you determine the repair costs of a property? Good question, people. If you're layman, how do I know what it needs?
I think starting off, you may need to just connect with a contractor. I think eventually you're going to be able to go in the house and know, oh, it's going to take $10,000 for this kitchen. It's going to take $7,000 to redo this master suite. It's going to take $10,000 to repaint the whole house. Eventually, you just know. But if you're just starting off, I would maybe connect with add a contractor or someone like that to your team and see if they will kind of teach you the game and how to evaluate those repairs. I don't know, Ty, you got a better answer or another answer?
That's definitely a way you can do it. There's I hadn't been to it in a while, so it's called remodelingcalculator.org. Now you're gonna have to bypass them wanting you to put your information in because they're trying to set you up with a local contractor. But they have a calculator there, and it's region specific, and it may be off a little bit, but what it does just gives you a general idea. If you know the square footage of a property, blah blah blah. It'll just take you through what it may cost or whatever. So that's one thing. You know what I mean? And I don't know, Nick, you may have done this, but does HomeDepot.com or Lowe's.com have a calculator there for things like that? It seems like they would. I've never checked. So if someone knows, post it in the comments or whatever, but seem like they may have something. But I know
they think they do, and they also have a team that'll come out and give you a call, give you a estimation too.
Okay, right. Hey, there we go.
Yeah, GLT says home advisor, TP, welcome. Says remodelingcalculator.org. So yeah, all options, and always remember to round up, guys. Round up. If they say it's gonna cost 800, that's 1,000 all day. Don't nickel and dime it. Round up. Be
You're
on the
just
safe.
looking for a general number, because you can send 3 contractors out to a property, and they're gonna come back with 3 numbers. I don't care how many times you do it, you know what I'm saying? But you just need a generalization. So
you need a general number, especially wholesaling, because you just need a general number. The end buyer really need to do all that due diligence.
Exactly.
To really get an accurate number, but you always want to be able to give your end buyer a roundabout number. If it comes out way more, that's what I evaluated. I evaluate $15,000 worth of repairs. You went out there and you seen 30. That's all you say. That's what I seen.
Yeah.
You got to always tell your end buyers and whoever to do their own due diligence. This is what I calculated.
Okay. Facebook. Sean, I'm gonna read your question and then we'll do a little house cleaning, as we call it. Sean Brown says, what's up, family? After doing a number of deals, about what percentage do you recommend to reinvest back into the business to keep scaling? Also, about how much of a percentage should you pay yourself? For simple math, say my average profit deal size is 10,000. How do I divide that money?
I would say it depends on if you're full-time. If you're full-time, what you really need to pay yourself is your bills money. If your bills are $3,000, you know, minimally, I need to pay myself $3,000-$4,000 to take care of my monthly bills. But if I have a full-time job that's taking care of my monthly bills, why not stack it up and save it and reinvest a little bit, 10, 15, 20% back in your business, stack it up and save it and get to the next level of real estate, which is to fix and flip. And then from there, you can start doing your buy and holds. So it's levels to this game. And that's probably my recommendation, is to, depends on where you are. If you need your full check to take care of your monthly bills, then you just need your full check. You know, until you are making more than your monthly expenses, there's nothing to save. Anything over your monthly expenses, you can save it and begin to just have save it and have a plan for what you're going to do with it. Are you saving to do a flip? Are you saving to do a buy and hold?
Hey, just blow it all. Just blow it. Ball out.
Ball out.
Don't blow that check.
Make it rain, baby.
Just ball out, man.
Buy bag.
I'm on a lot somewhere. Let me copy.
Don't be the ones that used to have it. We all know the ones. You remember when I used to have it? Nah, you
hey, I've been in that position. I was one of them.
We all been.
No, I'm just but everything should be plus.
You remember that time? Now we want to keep our check.
Okay.
There's so many ways to do it. You want to understand diversifying your portfolio for retirement. So there's so many things you can do to make sure you're putting your money in places that's going to continue to make money for you.
Grind and stack. Grind and stack.
I'm telling you, you asked the right one right there, because she's all about building that generational wealth. Yeah, you better not spend your money. Don't you touch that money. Go
Absolutely.
in your mattress.
Your assets. We got to get to a point where our assets is take care of our lifestyle.
Yes.
You take your money, you invest in the asset pays and take care of you. It take care of your cars, your house, your food, your entertainment. See, we think get the check and blow it, but you get the check, you stack it, put it into an asset, and the asset eventually takes care of you and your lifestyle.
Okay. Okay. Question from Corel. He has a good question because a lot of people are asking this. I have I'm going to read these 2 questions in regards to wholesaling and the days. If you were here with us last week and the week before, we talked about they say they ain't got, they want them days. Y'all gonna let them days Mess
See,
y'all up.
payers,
You can let them things mess you up now.
Yeah, they ain't got no money, and they can't tell you what to do, and they not on this Flippinars trying to make money, and they hating. They not gated, and they're not. They not you. But before I do that, and we'll end with Ty explaining what Flip by Phone is, and Miss Renikia explaining to you how you can get in touch with her and the program that she has for gap funding. And do not forget, guys, that if you don't have the 680 across the Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, she can help you get there as well. So there's a credit building program that she offers. So don't feel like, well, I can't reach out to her yet. Don't do that. Now is the time. Okay. So Corell's question, and this is from YouTube, says, what up, good people? So I've been doing bandit signs for the past couple of weeks in an area where I have some family. Recently, the popos, the police, and a few city workers have been calling my line with the usual, this is illegal, blah, blah, blah. I think they called today from a block number trying to sell a house. Oh, they tried to switch it up on you.
They will.
Questions. If using a service like CallRail, does that completely protect me from being fined? I only put the number and we buy houses on them. Also, if both 12, did he say 12? If y'all, okay, we just gonna say police, folks may not know what 12 is, especially if you don't live in Georgia. And then if you don't, you ain't culturally current, okay. And these city people keep calling my line, what's a good way to navigate the difference between actual leads and the feds hating? I can't believe he said 12. Well, Nikki, he said the 12.
What city is this?
That's a good question.
He is, hold on, let me scroll back up because it was like 4 posts. He never told me where he was. But do we have an answer for that?
That's a good question. You just got to stay in tune with what they're saying. I mean, the city people, you just gotta, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you just gotta know you just gotta know who you're talking to. And it's hard to know, but the city people always sound like, they don't have a house, but they want to meet you. Something like that. They want to meet you in a random place, but they don't want to meet you at a house. And probably not even a house where you put your bandit signs is. You just got to read through those clues. I don't know, Tom may have a better scenario, but I just kind of try to read through.
Yeah,
ask them as many questions as possible about what they're talking about the deal. See if they stumble on their word, because they don't have a deal. They're all over the place. If you had a deal, you know exactly how you want to sell that property. So.
Yeah, if they're on you like that's the reason I ask you where. Now, if you're in a very small town, that's all they got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Call people and stuff. So it's probably not going to be worth your while to use that form of marketing. So that's why, it's hard for me to answer that without knowing where you are or whatever. Because some, now it's just like here in my market, and most of y'all probably that do bandit signs know this. Like where I live, I can't put bandit signs. But 30 minutes away, I can go crazy. You know what I'm saying? In the suburban, all cities are set up then, but a lot of times in the suburban areas, maybe even downtown, because sometimes a lot of people, they try to keep that up of a particular, you can't get away with it. But the easy thing to do first is to really scout your market, get outside your comfort zone, and see where other signs exist, right? If they don't exist anywhere in your city, then that's a definite sign, either one or two things. You're way ahead of the game or whatever, or you just can't do them. Is that something? So now what I would do is...
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he says, my city is Metro Atlanta, but my family is in a small town, only 13,000 people or so.
Well,
where are you putting out your bandit signs?
Yeah, if you're in Atlanta, you can get away with bandit signs. So
bandit signs all over the place in the A now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You need to get outside.
Bandit signs friendly out here.
Yeah. He
but
needs
most
to get outside.
importantly, you got to understand today is Thursday. We tell you the city works Monday through Friday. They will take your signs up and they will call you to find you. The key is Monday, Friday through Sunday night.
Yeah, he needs to get outside his comfort zone. You're in Atlanta. It's massive, you know.
Yeah,
It sounds like he doesn't want to get outside of where he lives. That's what it sounds like. You got to get outside where you live. You probably can't get away when it's in a small town like that. That's all they have to do.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, his signs aren't in ATL. He got that part. I think they're, like you said, in the smaller area. But I guess you have to
maybe keep them in the particular subdivisions, you know. Put them
National Riverdale.
But I think he was more concerned about how do you field those calls, like Renikia was touching on in the beginning. Like, how do I know whether it's a real motivated seller or is it's hard to trying to meet up with me somewhere? And quite frankly, you just don't. I mean, they may have. Well,
the thing is, number one, if they ain't got nothing to do. Wow.
Right.
Yeah, you just in the wrong area, man.
And most sellers is not trying to meet you right then and there. So if someone call you want to meet you right then and there, first of all, what property you have? I need to do my virtual due diligence before I even get out of my desk and go and get in the field and go talk to someone, because I could get up and it doesn't even make sense.
So probably another clue is their name is not going to match, and that's not always the case even when they're legit. But in most cases, a last name or some will match, or they'll explain to you why their name doesn't show on the tax record as the owner or whatever. A lot of times the name is not going to match. That's going to probably be your first sign. You know, they might get a little savvy and, you know, figure out they need to look up who owns it and then see 3 Main Street, but probably not. You know what I'm saying? But in my opinion, if you're in a market, you're close to a market like Atlanta, just leave that area alone and go somewhere else. Put signs somewhere else.
Right.
Okay, and just to clarify, everyone, Bandit signs are illegal everywhere.
It is.
I don't care where
until it's political season.
Until it's political.
Right, until it's political. You're right. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless it's your personal property, but
it's all right then.
The signs just aren't allowed, because you know they say not on the right of way, right in the median, but all these governors and all these races, I want to put my signs right beside and be like, you take mine down, you better take Walmart and KI. Take
guy here in Atlanta, he did that. He definitely.
Oh, but he says his caller ID be snitching on me. If your caller ID,
you need to take all of these down, right? All the mayor signs down. The mayor needs to go
down. Take the Republicans and the liberals and all of them. You take my. That's like what I'm put my sign right there in between.
I know there's a guy that did that in Atlanta.
Like I double dog dare you.
Vote for We Buy Houses. Call the number. That would be a good sign to put out.
Oh, vote for We Buy Houses. You might be onto something. That might be something. Correll, but I think you got to figure it out. Your caller ID probably does say like scam like you're the city. It'll probably, if they're using a city phone, if it's the city caller, answer that. Don't answer that. Let's see here. There was another question that was pretty important that I wanted to ask. I can't find it. I'll think about it. So I'll let Ty go ahead and tell you what Flip by Phone is. And then Ms. Renikia will also explain to you how you can get in contact with her in regards to funding your next deal, gap funding, transitional funding, or credit repair, all of that good stuff, because I see some questions in regards to that. So make sure you have your pen and paper on how you can jot that down as well. So Ty, what's Flip by Phone?
Flip by Phone. See the shirt. Learn how to find deals faster than Bandit signs and direct mail / postcards, yellow letters. Basically, you're cold calling, and it's not like that's something new. It just took me this long to put something together, I thought, and it got results from, which checks in my hand, cash checks. And so basically, I actually started. I wanted to add that to how I even got to this point to come up with it. This all happened in the last couple of days. I'm always adding stuff to, or I try to the courses that I offer people that have paid for it, and, you know, just trying to give them an additional edge to make money. You know, they paid me, so my goal is to try to do whatever I can to help them make money. So as I was putting it together, I said, well, I could actually offer this as a separate course. Some people don't need me. They don't need me as an actual coach or anything. They're already doing deals. They may want to take their whatever they're doing to the next level, or maybe someone even starting out and they don't want to do Bandit signs, or they don't have the budget for direct mail. So with Flip by Phone, it teaches you where to buy your list from, how to scrub the list, how to instantly get, you buy, just to use that example, a list of 1,000 absentee owners, you can get 30% to maybe 70% phone numbers of that list. So that could be anywhere from 300 to 700 phone numbers. Now, understand that, and there are two services that I'll recommend in the course. One of them is the numbers are a little bit more accurate, but it produces a smaller amount, whereas the other service that I recommend, they give you a larger percentage of numbers. So it boils down to a numbers game. Now you're going to call the individuals. Most of the numbers are going to go to the person that you're trying to call, and you're playing the numbers that they want to sell. But that's no different than when you put Bandit signs out or when you do direct mail. And the difference is that you can literally buy a list today, scrub it, a pin for the phone numbers, all within probably about an hour, right? So you're ready to rock and roll right then to start making calls, all right, to actual property owners to see if they're interested in selling their property. All of this could be done just using a number as 1,000 absentee owners, which, as I said, you can get 30 to maybe 70% phone numbers out of that list for less than $250 as far as what it'll cost you. You know, that puts you in the game immediately. Now, some people don't like to make calls, do cold calls. That's me. But I'm smart enough to bring people in the mix that are okay with it. We'll partner 50-50, 60-40, whatever it is, or I may pay some, a VA, a virtual assistant, which some of y'all may already have some of those in play. So flipbyphone.com, it gives you an opportunity to start generating leads the same day. Cheaper than Bandit signs, cheaper than postcards, and faster as far as generating leads. So flipbyphone.com. Students, existing students, it's already in the course. Just go to log in, go to module 10, and you'll see new update there. So you already have access to it. And then it's going to be included. It's going to include bonuses as far as the ebook that I offer, the live event apartment training that I did. Obviously, you'll have a script. There's some additional training with the automatic dialer that I recommend. And then what else? What else? Oh, and it's a 50% discount through Saturday at 12 a.m. So it's 50% off what the normal price will be. So flipbyphone.com if you want to take advantage of that new marketing package that I'm offering, a product that I'm offering. Over to you, Renee.
Indeed. So first and foremost, thank you all for having me. But if you want to get in touch with me and really, I'll say that one of the first steps to really jumpstart your business, once you get to a point of getting that little flow of wholesaling, now you want to get to the next level, or you need additional cash, even put into your wholesale business. We have a program, a flagship program called the Gap Funding, where we help you be able to leverage your credit to receive up to $150,000 to invest into your business. One of the things I do is an 18-month fast track investment plan. We're going to sit down. If you go through the funding, we'll sit down and make sure you have a very clear strategic investment plan over the next 18 months, but definitely over the next 5 to 10 years as well. But to get in contact with me, you want to go to fundmynextdeal.com, and that's going to pretty much give you over to my site where you can put your information in there. You're going to get an email with instructions, and it's pretty much simple from there.
All right, there you have it.
On all social media channels as well, first and last name.
All right. Hey, Sabor, and I didn't speak to Eric, and I didn't do my shout out rounds, but Royston, I see you're back. I don't know where Shaq from the west side of Detroit is. He's sleeping on me tonight. First time here, welcome. If I didn't get to your question, I apologize, but I'm sure in some shape or form we answered it. We do have fun here. I know I see a lot of comments saying y'all are funny, but you're real. Yes, we try to keep it fun. I see the comments saying, do y'all get tired of asking the same questions over and over again? Nope. That's why we're here. I mean, somebody might be here this week that wasn't here last week. And I just posted a comment in YouTube that says, I love the way you guys help each other out. There's more than enough out here for all of us to eat. Keep up the motivation, y'all. I mean, I see people asking like, what skip tracing companies do you use? How do I do this? And where do I get signs from? Y'all already know, Dirt Cheap Signs. Y'all are plugging in that information right there in the chat boxes before I can even say it. So if I didn't read your question, it's because I see that somebody actually answered you and you responded to them and said thanks. So I didn't really need to read your question. Now, granted, it might have helped someone else out, but I appreciate you helping each other. That's what we're here for. Don't forget to join the Facebook group Wholesaling with the Flip Man. We're over 10,000 members. And I did say last week that if we hit over 10,000, I would get tired to give y'all something for free because I ain't got it. So I'm thinking I will pull a random name today and you will get Ty's ebook free of charge for you. Sent that will help you get started on your wholesaling journey. Hopefully that will, give you the little motivation that some people like having something in their hand. So without further ado, we've actually gone over our time by quite a bit. I only have one more thing to say. Ty, can you see me?
Yeah.
What is that?
You know what this is? What's this? What's this?
Broom?
It's a broom. It's a broom because Golden State is going to do what?
Oh, we ain't doing this. No, we not.
We're going to switch tails.
My boy coming back. Don't never count out the king. Never count out the king.
Woo, it's over with. It's dead. It's over.
We'll regroup next year. I heard, yeah, we'll regroup.
Oh, Ty ain't got nothing else to say for me, y'all. He done. Okay. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate y'all for joining us. Join us next week, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. No, I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we will see you all next week. Renikia, Ty, and myself, the lovely Adrian, on the flip side, guys.